Testing.
Oh, yeah.
We got us a new mixer. We've been out of business lately. Our other mixer took a shit on us. We tried recording 2 other times, and it did not go well. We had a guest come to record with us, and that didn't go very well either. So
Mixer took a shit.
Yeah, it just stopped working. I looked up some reviews, and people said the same thing. Like, it would just stop. Like, they didn't do anything, and all of a sudden it would just stop working. Well, sure enough, like, it would light up like it was going to work, but the power supply was, like, not, it was, like, minimal, and we tried all different USB connectors to it, and it just never, I don't know if it was underpowered or what, but.
How do you turn, never mind.
What's that?
I was going to say, how do you turn my voice up in my own head, but it sounds all right.
The voice in my head.
It sounds different.
It is different. Here, I'll mess with some stuff quick. So if I like right now, I notice when I move like that.
Yeah.
What do you think sounds better? I know.
Like that?
It's like it's really subtle.
Mm-hmm. I like that more.
This one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it has a little bit more clear on like your S's and.
Yeah.
And then we can adjust this, and then it gets real loud. There's so many little tinker things on this thing. Like this one, which I'm going to probably mess up now.
Yeah, that's like the...
Right there, you think?
It's
at 15. I think that's what we... More, less? Less is more?
Try it a little more.
Right here?
Yeah, try that. Yeah.
All right. We can Bluetooth some stuff, so every time we get a clip or whatever, I think we can play it through the computer, and it will record onto the mixer. Or I can Bluetooth to the mixer, and then it will... go into this recording. So that'd be nice when we want to add clips and stuff. We can just pull them up, and because then we don't have to edit them all in. I'm excited, dude. It was like we wanted to record, and then it's like, damn it. Like, so then we were just waiting, and I'm like, screw it. Like, I got a new one.
You disappointed our 3 viewers the past couple weeks.
Five. No. Sorry, you 5. Did I ever tell you that story?
No.
Anna's sister's like, how many viewers do you guys get? And I think we get like 20 to 30 usually. Not a lot. But literally within a millisecond, her little brother's like a 5? I think I seen 5 on the I'm like, where the hell you get your information from? I'm like, what app are you looking at? I'm like, we at least get 20. Not that's much more, but damn.
I tell myself we get like 100,000.
Yeah, that's what I tell myself when I'm doing it, just so I feel good about it. Even though I don't give a shit how many people listen to it. Mm-mm. We just we like sharing the information, but if it benefits one person, then that's it. Like we said from the beginning, like we're kind of doing it for ourselves to keep ourselves on track with stuff, but if it positively affects somebody, then that's it's super rewarding to us, which honestly we've got some pretty positive feedback. Mm-hmm. So if you guys have been listening and you haven't shared it yet, that's what we ask is just share it on YouTube, Facebook, your Spotify, Instagram. Just share an episode that you liked, or just tell people about it. We would appreciate that greatly.
Yeah, I came out here, what was it, 3 weeks ago? We're like, all right, we're going to record. And then I get out here, and it would not work. That old mixer would not work. Tried everything. We got like
2 hours.
A new plug, a new battery. Like, tried it. And you're like, well, I'll send it back because it's under warranty. And all of a sudden, you snap me with this new one. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, well, they didn't answer me. I was like, hey, like, I talked about my order number or whatever, and, like, nothing. Didn't get anything back. I'm like, what the hell? So now I'm going to go through that process. But in the meantime, I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and wait. Like, we got to record. Go down, up a little bit. Yeah?
I'm going to go up because we're always quiet. So maybe this is just
This will help. Then we don't have to adjust our volume when we edit, too.
Maybe this is just like blasting loud.
Yeah, we'll have to turn it down like 20%.
Maybe like, ooh, Hunter or like Kyle's going to be like, ooh, new episode. Better crank the volume and then turn up.
Blows his speakers, all the treb's gone. Sorry, buddy.
You blew the speakers in my car.
That'd be great. We start our next episode like real quiet, and then they turn it up, and then we just start screaming. Hey, guess what? I don't want to say names, but one of our old teachers listens to some of these, I guess.
Really?
Yeah, makes them very proud.
From high school?
Yeah,
Or
yeah. I'm like, well, that's kind of interesting. It's cool. Like,
what did they teach? Or can't you even say
nah,
that?
that'd be too obvious. Yeah, I'll tell you.
Yeah, you'll
but,
tell me
yeah.
later. All right. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they found out about it, but that's pretty cool.
He's like, yeah, I was on YouTube and came across it. I'm like, that's kind of cool.
That's pretty cool.
Like, that's like another reason. Like, it's just, like people find it interesting, so then you just keep on doing a couple more, do a couple more. So Jay completed 75 hard.
Mm-hmm.
I struggled a little bit, had some setbacks.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that yet.
No, those were our goals the last time. But now that you're done, what was the hardest part?
There was a lot of hard parts, actually. The hardest was getting through, like, the first 3 weeks. Like, the first week was really easy because you're motivated and you're like, I'm going to do this, and, like, this motivation is going to carry through this 75 days. And then it dies out after, like, 5 or 6 days. And you're like,
That kind of reminds me of, like, when you hear it all the time, like, all the guys we listen to, Andy, Priscilla, Ed Milet, Seth, Feroci, like, all those guys, it's like, like Goggins, motivation, well, that's shit. Like, it'll only get you so far. Like, when shit gets hard, you got to have an actual purpose and, like, the goal of it. You like goals. Because, yeah, the motivation is shit. Like, we figured that out. Like, if you don't have, like, a reason to push yourself, then as soon as it comes to, like, an excuse to slip up, it's easy to just slip up and forget it.
yeah, and then after 3 weeks, I kind of, like, built that habit of, like, the mornings I do my, like, walk or a slow jog type deal. And then I'll do, after work, I lift. And then that just became, like, a habit. And then the water was, like, after, like, 3 days, the water was just, like, normal. Like, that's just something I do, is I'm going to stay hydrated. And then it just became, like, regular. And then, like, I feel like my mindset started, like, that's what was, like, growing and, like, being more productive and, like, looking at life differently. And then the last week, dude, was super hard. Once I seen that end, like, the end is, like,
Yeah.
I'm like 7 days away. And then it was just like, well, you basically made it. Like,
Yeah, you wanted to slip up a little bit.
You can skip like, you want to sleep in today.
Yeah. Ooh.
And then I didn't. And then after I finished, this past week has been harder than starting.
To stay with it.
Stay with it.
Yep. Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. Are you continuing to, like?
I've continued everything. So I ended last Saturday. Today's Saturday, so we're 7 days into it.
1 weekend.
And Monday we started working at 5, starting at 5. So then, like, if I wanted to do, like, a walk or whatever before, I'd have to walk at, like, 3. So I'm like, well, I'm not doing that. Well, I probably should. And then after work, Monday, I mean, it sounds bad, but I didn't work out Monday at all because I get a phone call. I had to get my meter replaced at my house, and my grandpa was supposed to be there at 11, and he was there, and Alliant messed up. I get a phone call literally right when I'm done with work. Hey, they're not here yet. You need to call them. And I'm like, they're supposed to be there at 11. Why wouldn't you call me while I'm at work or, like, on lunch or, like, So now I got to go home and, like, figure this out so that you can go home. And they didn't show up until, like, 5. And then I ate. And then I was just, like, dead. So, like, that's obviously an excuse. I should have just got up and got back in the routine of lifting again. But I didn't.
So that's, like, why in the morning would be best. Because at least you know you're going to get one thing done. Yeah.
And then Tuesday, we had I shoot trap on Tuesdays, and they wanted to do a cookout before we went to shoot.
Yeah.
So then that started at 5. I get done at 3:30. So by the time I showered, went straight home, showered, I had to literally leave. So there's not any time. And then I get done with that at 8:30. And it's like, well, then I got to go home and go to sleep.
So you would have to. Well, you don't have to go to sleep, but that's your normal schedule.
Yeah.
Like I get what you're saying.
And so then that excuse, I'm not in the program anymore.
I don't want to see you slip away from it because I know I have seen the changes in the last 6 months since we really started doing this, but the last 3 months when you started this 2.5 whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
I don't want to see that go, and I think you know that too.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is
you'll be able to feel it now though.
Yeah.
Like when Andy says oh, I was using business as an excuse, or I was like, oh, I'm grinding, I'm doing this. You're kind of forgetting about that, but your health and keeping that schedule is gonna be I don't know how to word it, but when you're pushing yourself that much more, it is you do a lot better everywhere else in life, not just one little aspect. You're doing well in your career, but when you do that, you're more well-rounded.
Yeah, so I only lifted twice this past week. And I'm pretty disappointed about that.
Yeah, so then that's something that you gotta do it in the morning, even if it's early as hell. You just gotta be okay, well, I know that I have this later in the afternoon. I have to at least do a 45-minute today.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that too. I for sure will do at least one 45-minute workout every day. That's something I'm not gonna just drop out because I know that's my release in a way. If I don't work out or do something like that, I just feel like I'm becoming lazy or I'm not pushing myself, and it's just a stress reliever for me.
And I finished on that Saturday, and I honestly didn't even feel accomplished. You'd think that you'd be oh yeah, I just did this. You tell people about it, and they look at you like you're fucking crazy while you're doing it. And then now you can say yeah, I fucking did it, and I can honestly say that I did not slip up once, and I, not even down to a progress picture. I made sure that. And there is no compromises in the past 75 days, and I finished it. And then there was just you think of even the workouts in the gym that you're well, I could have done power sets instead of just regular sets, or I could have done super sets, 3 sets in a row instead of taking breaks.
Pushing yourself more and more.
Did I actually push myself? Because the past month and a half, it's just been a routine. That just becomes your routine. So then, did you actually do anything to push yourself where you're uncomfortable? Because I was pretty comfortable the past month and a half.
Which Andy's he started over multiple times, not because he missed something, but because he didn't feel like he was giving it 100% effort.
And that's how I felt. When I finished it, leading up to that, I felt I fucking did it. I'm going to make it happen, and I'm going to do this and this.
But the reflection was...
Then I finished it, and I'm yeah, I think you're kind of a pussy because this and this and this happened, and you didn't push yourself in this workout, and you could have done better here, and you know what I mean?
100%. I get exactly what you're saying.
So that's I don't know. I want to get through the summer, and I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, I think I want to hit it in
the hardest thing is the weddings and the bachelor party coming up and
summertime.
I'm gonna want.
We love breweries.
Yeah, I'm gonna want to socially drink, but then that's when I reflect. Drinking doesn't bring me anything positive, and I was telling my dad this when I was halfway through it. I'm I think I'm gonna just quit drinking because.
Do you think that's your
It doesn't.
That's your biggest realization out of the whole thing.
Yeah, is that it just doesn't bring me any it brings me negative thoughts
really?
While I'm drinking.
Yeah.
Really negative thoughts.
Really?
Oh yeah, and it just that like numbing feeling
Yeah.
is just like not like I don't know.
Do you think there's like a level though? Like
I don't know. I just think like everybody's different. Like,
yeah, do you think there's a level of like you have the 3 or 4, you're trying different beers, or you're just like sitting on the patio
I could have
hanging
like
out?
one Bud Light, and then all of a sudden I'm like thinking differently. Like,
Really?
I don't feel any like impairment.
Yeah.
But like my thoughts are different. Like they start to change. Like
It's kind of like it reminds it's so there's a conditioning, Pavlov conditioning is like you ever hear of ring the bell, the dog will salivate because it knows that the food is coming. So what happens is I'm ringing the bell and then I feed the dog, right? Well then eventually I condition the dog to every time the bell rings, he's going to get food. So what happens is he salivates.
yeah.
You ring the bell, they salivate. Well then even if you don't give them food, they're still salivating. Like they're drooling or whatever. So my thoughts are, you've been so conditioned that like if you're heavily drinking or like when you are drinking, you're just like, it's not so much because like the alcohol in one isn't really like gonna affect you.
Well,
Like
it's
you
not
said,
gonna
impairment
It's not
wise.
gonna impair you, but I feel like
So that's what I'm saying.
Like it's still in your system,
wonder-
like affecting you. Like
Yeah, I wonder if you've over the years have just been so conditioned to like when you're doing that, or like when you were feeling upset about stuff, you would turn to drinking. Where now, like when you have that drink, it reminds you of that stuff. Like you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like so in a way, like it is a mindset change too. Where I'm not trying to say you should go out and do that, like drink and all that. But what I'm saying is like if you're socially just you're in a comfortable position, like you're just relaxing with your friends, like you're not there to get fucked up. You're just enjoying just like a soda or just something of good taste, like a good beer.
I don't know, man, because like even like we went to the casino Saturday,
Yeah.
and that was my 75. Like that was
That
the
midnight
day.
was it. Yeah.
So if at midnight turned 76 days, so then at midnight I was completely done. So like 12:10, you bring me a whiskey coke because I'm fucking done. Like,
and I know that
and that's
you
what
love like that.
that's
was our
what I
shit,
wanted.
Like,
That's
a
what I
whiskey
wanted.
Coke. Yeah. It
That's
wasn't
what
like I was just trying to
craving.
feed your.
No.
Yeah.
No.
We talked
to
about it
clear
before.
I'm
we
like,
talked about this.
I'm like at the table. I'm like at 12 o'clock. I want a fucking drink because I've been craving a whiskey coke bad. That's what I wanted, and I get it. And as soon as I start drinking it, I'm like all these like just negative thoughts.
But that's what I'm saying. I think you're relating that to
Probably because last night I went out for fish with my parents and I had 2 whiskey cokes and I like it like as soon like
I know what you're
3
saying
sips.
because I felt the same way. Like not so much like super negative, but I was like, should I be doing this? Like I was questioning everything because I'm like, what's this doing for me? But like
it wasn't even that. It was just like negative outlook on life.
Really?
Like it was just like I went from like my normal like
good vibe.
I'm gonna like all these goals in mind of like
And
I'm gonna do this and this and like these are the steps I'm gonna take to
Did you feel like it
achieve
was like putting you further from reaching that?
mentally, because
yeah,
like
I
it was
know what you're saying.
it wasn't even like I don't want to do this. It was literally like obviously like
It felt like a bad habit.
no, like it wasn't even about the drinking. It was like as soon as I started drinking, like all my goals started to seem like meaningless. Like I don't even like what's the point of even doing it? It was
Interesting.
And
Mine just felt like
I
it was
think-
like a negative thing.
and it wasn't like I got through one whiskey coke and then that's like 10 or 15 minutes. So like obviously the alcohol's like getting into your system. And once I was done with one is when it started like
Yeah.
and then it was just like it was just like why even it's like the weirdest thing.
That
Like
is
these
super-
goals
that is-
aren't
that is
even
wild.
like they're not even like meaningful anymore.
Because
And then I wake up I woke up this morning and it was just back to like
crush it.
let's fucking grind this out this summer. And,
Well, I think you have to keep that like
then-
mentality. But that's a mentality. Like
but
You got
My thing is like, when's it gonna be like that like mindset of like when your drinking starts to like spill into like your daily thing, and like if why even like drink if you're not gonna like if all your goals and like
if
all
it
your
feels like that to you every time.
yeah
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, in a way, then I would say like it's not
it's not
something
if it's
for you
not
to
if
do.
it's gonna like take all of my
Like everybody's different,
yeah
and that's like why that's your reason for not doing it. Like some people have like Anna's dad doesn't do it. I think I don't know if his parents did or like something negative happened in his life with it where he just doesn't ever do it. Like he doesn't care to do it, doesn't want to do it. Like that's just his reasoning. Like
yeah
we don't dive deep into him. We don't ask him all these questions about it. Like that's another thing too. Like respect the fact that people don't want to fucking do it. Get off their ass. Like
yeah
I've ran into so many people that are like, "Oh, you're no more fun. You won't do this." It's like, dude,
yeah
if I don't want to fucking do it, get off my ass. Like
yeah if you're gonna only befriend me because
you want to
I'm
go out and
drinking
party,
with
yeah.
you and like
Well,
you
then
like me
you ain't
well
a friend, and
that's
like
that's the thing too is like if you like I don't know like I don't really like me when I'm drunk I guess, and I knew that like before that happened, like before I did 75 hard, I knew that like when I'm wasted I don't like me, like
yeah,
I don't like
yeah,
I wake up in the morning and like you look back at all the shit you did and you're like that's not even me, dude, like I don't like that. And then it's like, well, if you're only going to befriend me because I'm drinking with you and that's who you like and I don't like that person, then fuck you. Like,
yeah. No, I've ran into a couple people in the past like couple months with that whole situation, and it's a couple of them, you know, like I've distanced from, like
yeah,
because that was the only time we really hung out or like connected, and it was through like just that, like just from that. And in a way, I was reflecting, I'm like, what is this even offering, like as a friendship,
yeah,
like we've talked about that before. You're not a friendship. It's give and take. Like you know, it's just like a relationship with a significant other. There's give and take. Like you can't just keep. You can't give, and have this person just fuck you over, or you're pouring all this energy into them and nothing positive's coming from it.
right,
Same way you wouldn't take.
right.
So that's your. I like that outlook though.
I don't know.
Like,
I'm gonna like. Obviously, I like the social aspect of drinking, and I don't like going to family gatherings and like not drinking, and then everybody's asking you like, "Well, why aren't you drinking?" Like,
see, that's
what's
one
the
thing
deal?
that I
Why
don't.
aren't you drinking? It's like I'm not here to like make you feel uncomfortable that
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
drinking. I
yeah.
just
Yeah, so that's one thing that I
and then like
don't really care about is like family events. But like when you and I just want to hang out or something, like let's just go get a beer and talk business, talk life, like
yeah.
that. I like that stuff, but we do that without going out for one too.
But then like I feel like a piece of shit sometimes because like in 75 hard, you go to like family gatherings or like getting together with certain people and they're drinking and they're like, "Well, why aren't you drinking? Why aren't you doing this? Like, what's the benefit of not drinking?" Like, I have no problem with not with drinking. And then I tell them like, "Well, like the mental clarity, like when I
Oh, dude,
drink, I
that's
feel like
real.
this."
That's
Like,
real.
and then like I'm like telling them XYZ, and then they're like, you can tell like I'm making them feel bad about drinking, or like you can see like the lights start
Yeah.
clicking. Like, well, I think maybe like I'm feeling like this deep down. That's what they're feeling.
Oh yeah.
But then like on like the surface, they're like trying to play like tough
You can
guy.
see it.
And then I'm just like, well, I'm not here to like make you like feel like that, but like you asked me, so now I'm telling you.
In a way, like it's good though. You're planting that seed because I bet there's a lot of people that have not gone that long without having a drink. Turning to that when things get hard or just socially, like it does change your mindset on stuff. Like the mental clarity, I noticed that like
Yeah.
quick.
And then then my thing is like if this is gonna get in like even like for say 12 hours of drinking, like if that's gonna like make me think that like my long-term goals aren't worth it and are stupid, then that needs to be cut out. Like that's
It's just like having the freaking negative person in your life.
Yeah.
whether it's a friend or family. Like, you know that's not good for you to have because it's just turning you away from your beliefs. Like, oh, which we're going to get into, like, the negative aspect of people because a lot of people don't know this, and I've only told, like, a couple close friends, and I have not even really talked to my family about it. But some of the decisions that I've made in the last couple days, like, I know that hate is coming. And it's from people, it's going to come from people that I thought were very close friends of mine. And if I got to ditch their asses, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I know that is part of this whole situation, and I'm for it. Like, I mean, the more shit that you talk, like, you're just fueling the beast. I'm excited for that shit.
Yeah.
Which we're going to dive into that a little bit too. But all right. Besides, I guess we could switch it up from there. Like,
yeah. But overall, it was a good experience. I think. Like,
I'm doing it. I'm
gonna do it again probably.
I think the winter
September.
time, like fall, winter time is a really good time too because there's always the excuse of like it's cold out or there's nothing to do. Like, that's a perfect time to go push yourself. Like, because it's easy to slack off in the wintertime. You're not outside doing shit. You're not doing much housework. Like there's not much going on in general.
There's always something that you could be bettering yourself doing rather than like drinking. And I know somebody's out there saying like, oh well, I can be productive and drink, but then it's just like it comes back to that mental clarity of like, well, are you like?
I do like one of my favorite things is like a couple like there's some people that they don't share really like any of their thoughts unless they're like a little bit where they let loose a little bit, and like that's where you can like get a little deep with people is like they kind of share stuff that they wouldn't have, but in a way that's like it's a lack of confidence on their part. But you kind of find out who people are that way, which I'm all for like finding that out, but then I want to talk to you when you're not intoxicated talking, you know what I'm saying? Kind of. Is it making like a little noise in there when I have this cord?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Fuck.
We got to get the arms. I'll order them like this week.
Oh dude, arms are gonna be sweet. Anna cleaned the whole upstairs. I gotta do drywall. She's gonna start painting. We'll have that freaking room ready to rip.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Looking for a table for there, and then we'll get some nice freaking.
I got like a really like temporary cheap table I can bring over. Until we find something.
Yeah. The biggest thing, honestly, isn't even the table. It's freaking comfy ass chairs with like an arm, like you said. Like when you have the arm in a comfy chair. Plans tonight, though. I think they want to go out for Mexican.
All right.
Yeah. Which last time we went out for that was pretty good. But they want to go out to Ripon. I forget what the place is called, but it's pretty good gig.
That Mexican place?
Yep.
Yeah.
What'd you do today? What'd you start your day with? I mean, did you do any Father's Day stuff? Or are you doing that tomorrow?
No, we went out last night for Father's Day. And then I got to go back down there next weekend and help. My parents are having like a family, like my dad's side over, and then I got to help them fix some stuff before everybody comes over.
I picked up some 20 watt, 20 amp outlets. Anna's all like pumped up to do the bedroom because we got the wrong ones last time, so
yeah, that's weird to me, but then it makes sense because like everything's on that one breaker.
Yeah, the whole freaking house is on one breaker.
If you're on it's a 15 amp, I think.
Yeah,
if you're on a 15 amp circuit with that much on it, you'd be popping breakers left and right, so they probably just threw 20,
which we didn't
maybe like back in the day
that was common.
It was all just 20. I don't know.
It probably could have been like that because now being more energy efficient and stuff and only up to code, like running a certain amount of breakers because of fire hazards and whatever else. Like,
yeah,
I'm sure that had some.
I was going to replace them and I flipped the breaker and it was like the hallway, the entryway,
the garage, the bedroom.
all this shit like turned off and I'm like,
holy buckets.
What the fuck? And I take the first one off and I'm like, this is thick. There's no way this is 14 gauge wire. And I'm like, I replace one, and I'm like, why is this? Why would it be 12 gauge on a 15 amp? Then all of a sudden it clicked. I'm like, well, if it's 12 gauge, it can't be a 15 amp circuit. And then I'm like, yeah, we gotta stop this because
Yeah, there's like 4 of them off. Like Hunter's ahead of you, taking them all
Yeah.
off quick, and it's like, oh, we gotta hold up. Yeah, so she'll be pretty excited for that.
yeah, that was my fault because I should have went downstairs and checked the breaker. It says right on the breaker what it is.
That's
Like,
all right. We had no idea how to do anything, so any help that you offered was freaking awesome. So thanks again for helping me with that shit, and
yeah,
not
I like that.
thanks for helping me and then not riding my ass because, oh, I helped you do this and I didn't see this out of it or blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, the whole point, like,
Well, didn't
we just decided, like, it was
well
just
you're
fun
always
bullshitting and doing it. Like, like, when you have stuff, I'm going to be there to help you do it. Like,
well. It's not even about that. It's like, for me, it was like I liked coming over here and doing it because like I know that like my end goal is to get like houses and like flip them or like
yeah,
renovate them or
yeah.
do whatever, and like being able to see like
Use it as a learning
yeah,
experience and then not like,
and
well, what
obviously
am I
like
losing? Like, what am I losing off this? Like,
I learned a
you were
ton of
looking at what you could gain from it.
yeah, like every time I came out here, I learned something of like what I was helping you with and like how to like better that skill. So
Dude,
it's like
something like the ceiling fan, like, or like putting the
yeah,
lights up in there, like that's something that you're not gonna do very often, and that, like,
right. But
yeah,
it's like it's still like sharpening that skill
yeah,
of myself. So then like I don't know, and like the social aspect, like
it was
we
never
really
really felt like work,
no,
like,
you came out here and there's always like it wasn't just like I'm here by myself,
yeah,
like helping somebody else. It's like you're here, Jake was here, Hunter's here, Beak's here, like somebody's here, and we're just bullshitting. Like,
camaraderie,
yeah,
just,
it was never like I don't know.
I don't know, I thought it
I
was
I liked coming
I thought it
out.
was a good time, so thank you for helping.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I thought, and it turned out nice. Like, obviously, it's not 100% done, but you see that end goal, and you see that like now that it's done, you see it done, and it's still like you get that fulfillment of like, well, I did this, and like I helped with that, and like I seen it before it was all done, and I don't know. It all worked out.
It was pretty good. I mean, there's obviously still a lot to do, but
Well, there's always gonna be something
yeah,
to
it's
do.
a house, dude. It's home
You could
ownership.
literally get
Like,
this thing to like a brand new house, and then you're gonna be like, oh
we
well,
could do this.
the landscaping, and you get the
Yeah.
landscaping done, and you'll be like, oh, there's dandelions out in the yard, and then you get the dandelions done, and then you turn around, and it's like, oh well,
We
the
could-
driveway it could be a little
Yeah,
bit different. Like,
yeah.
there's
We could
always gonna be
side it.
something.
Oh, we could do the roof this year.
Yeah, there's always gonna be something.
It'll never stop, but that's all right, man. Like you said, we want to get into that shit. That's what our next 20 years is gonna be. So, granted, there'll be a little bit more financial gain out of it, but
Yeah,
there's my motivator.
yeah. The financial thing isn't even like a motivator for me.
Yeah,
It's like the freedom that like the financials bring. It's
Yeah.
not like the dollar itself.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like,
yeah, okay. I guess I worded it wrong, but yeah, that's exactly how I'm feeling about it. I think that confuses a lot of people too. Like you said, you're not chasing the dollar. I mean, literally you are, but like the figurative aspect is it? Yeah, figuratively, right?
Yeah.
You're looking for a better future, like the freedom in your future.
Yeah, so in I'm reading Money Master the Game
By Tony.
by Tony Robbins, and it talks about that right there of like the freedom that money can bring and like striving towards that instead of like the actual like
That's why we talk about the goals being important,
Yeah.
and like having like long-term goals. Oh, that's another thing I found out too. Like people close to me talking shit that I'm a dreamer. It's like, dude, you got to have goals. You got to have dreams like that you turn into goals so you can act like you're actually like what else are you working for? Like you have to have a purpose. So by setting goals, you're figuring out a purpose to drive yourself to keep on
Yeah.
working, to keep on pushing forward, to keep wanting more.
But there's a difference between a goal and like a dream.
But you have to have dreams to create goals. You get what I'm saying? Like,
but if
you're not just dreaming. Like, okay, you're right. If you're just dreaming of something,
yeah,
if you don't have it figured out to the point where it is broken down into multiple goals, like you're literally, I guess you're just dreaming. Like you have to still put the work in and break it down and hit the small goals over and over, small goal, and then eventually you're hitting these long-term goals that you had by hitting all the little goals you had, which leads you down to what you were dreaming that it would become.
But like I look at it like it starts as obviously it's going to start as a dream. Like,
Yep.
In X amount of time, I can like visually see myself doing this. And then you look and it's like, all right, well, what steps am I going to have to take?
Exactly.
And until you make the path of all the way down to like, it starts tomorrow, and tomorrow I'm going to do this, and the next day I'm going to do this, and you
Start
can see.
today. Never push that shit off.
Well, whatever.
Yeah, I get you.
But you like once you make that path of like exactly how you're going to do it, then it's a goal. And once you have that goal set, there's like it's going to happen. Like you know it's going to happen.
You're going to hit roadblocks, shit's going to get in the way. It might not go the way you expected, but by having those goals, you're putting yourself in the right direction. Mm-hmm. Like you're putting yourself in a direction. There's so many people that don't have any direction in what they want to do, where they want to be in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Like, and then they wonder like how you're doing this or how you got that, and then that's exactly what's going to happen. Is in 5, 10 years, somebody's going to say, "Oh, it must be nice." You're going to turn back to fucking episode 6 and be like, look here, motherfucker. Like, I've been telling you, like, this is what I've been doing to put the work in to get there.
Yeah,
like,
I
didn't just dream it.
You called me a dreamer. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, they think it's just these dreams, but it's like they don't see what's going on behind closed doors where you're putting that work in for it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think anybody that's going to call anybody else a dreamer because they're, like, bettering themselves towards their goals in life are literally only mad at themselves because they can see you like bettering yourself and that they didn't do it, and they can see themselves like it's literally just like they can see it in themselves, so then they're gonna take that negativity and put it on you to try to make themselves feel better.
To rationalize why they're too lazy about doing stuff. They don't have the drive to do it, and they always have a reason why they couldn't get somewhere but you did. Yeah,
and literally those people are like exactly what like Andy and those guys talk about of like you got to cut that shit out of your life because they're only gonna bring you down. And like they all talk about is they're like it's gonna be people from your family, it's gonna be close friends. Like you gotta do it. Like, and every single one of them can probably name people in their family or like close friends that they had.
Whether it's a parent or their freaking sibling. Like, oh, I hate this stupid thing, but we need them arms, bro.
Yeah, we didn't have that before. Now
I think it's the gain. It can pick. I mean, this thing picks up.
That's good though.
Yeah, I like it.
And it's not as staticky.
Not at all.
I can hear it a little.
But dude,
I don't know if you can in the recording.
But I think that's normal. If you listen to like any other podcast, if you really, really listen for it, you'll hear like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a recording, right? Like this isn't so. I don't know how they professionally do that.
I probably sound really nasally, more than normal, because like my nose has been plugged for 3 weeks.
You're not too bad. Yeah, freaking allergies.
My allergies are so bad.
A lot of people were talking about that. A couple guys at work, like on like my family too. Like, yeah, I don't really have allergies much, but this year's like getting me. I don't know. I don't know if it's because it's so dry or what it is.
No, man, it's been bad. Like, I cut the inside of my eyelid. Did I tell you that?
Yeah.
On accident. They've been bad where I've been taking like NyQuil just so I can sleep a full night, and I woke up like a week ago, and I'm literally like my hand's in like a claw shape, and I'm scratching my left eye, like with my nails, and like I woke up
Some
because my eye
exorcism
hurt.
stuff.
I woke up because my eye hurt, and I'm like, what? And I wake up, and my right eye is like glued shut with like crust, and my left eye, I'm like scraping my eye, and I go into the bathroom, and my eye is like, it's literally looks like somebody took red food dye and poured it in my eye, and I wiped it with
You gotta
like
get some eye drops.
with my shirt, and it was like my tears were bloody,
Oh,
and I'm like, what the fuck?
making my eyes water.
And I go back to sleep. I wake up in the morning, and my eye is like puffy, and like it looked like I either got punched or like something happened. And then I go throughout the day, and all of a sudden it starts happening again, where I'm like rubbing my eye, and like
Yeah.
it happens, and I go up to the mirror, and I'm like, why does this eye hurt so bad? And I like, I'm like, do I have something in it? Like I was worried that I got something like a metal shaving
Yeah,
in my eye, and I pull my my bottom eyelid down, and you can see a gash in it, and I'm like, well, that's what happened. I cut my eyelid with my nail because I'm clawing at it.
Oh man.
The inside of my eyelid. I don't know how I didn't
You
get
probably
my eye.
You probably looked like our old Saint Bernard, big ass droopy eyes and
It was bad.
boogers in there.
It was bad. It was like my eyes been like,
Dude, my eyes are starting to water just thinking about that.
yeah, allergies have been terrible. I got a new allergy pill that didn't help. Like,
Yeah, I gave you one that one night when we were gonna record, and I don't think it did much for you.
Nope.
Usually those work pretty well for me.
Yeah.
I don't really get allergies though.
I got to go to Walmart this week and try like a Claritin D, where you got to go to the counter and order it.
Yeah.
See if that helps, because like
There's a
bad.
girl at school that we went to school with, and she would take like I think she was allergic to Grizz, but she liked playing with them all the time. And she would take an allergy pill at like, I don't know, say 6 or 7. Well then we would go out that night. Well, dude, it like that does not mix good with alcohol. Like she's like, "Oh man, like I don't know if I can." Like it just basically 2 and she's like done for. So yeah, don't drink with allergy medicine. There's a reason it says that on there.
Huh.
Yeah.
So let's hear about these big plans you got, dreamer.
Stop overvaluing your current situation. Stop thinking that you have it so good that you're afraid to take a risk, because people that actually win, people that build great things, people that do great things, all the people you look up to and you say, fuck, man, I wish I had what that guy had. The only real difference they have is the way they assess risk is completely different.
Yeah. I wish I would have recorded my conversation, because I went into all right.
So go back and how this all started. Say what you're doing, and then go back to how it all started.
So the past couple of years, basically since I got out of, well, even like in high school, my brother-in-law, in like, it's a family business. They build houses, like residential stuff, like condos, and it's all like, I mean, it's all home building, like whether it's garages, full buildings, like just like siding, interior work, like all finished stuff, like everything from the ground up of building a home. And like I've always found an interest in that. And I was like once his dad's done, it's just him, and like that's my brother-in-law. I think I said that, but we were always talking like how like someday like we'll be in business together, like we'll work together, we'll flip homes, we'll build homes, like we'll do all that together. Well, I don't have like the carpentry skills, but that's what I was gonna go to school for and do like in the trades or whatever through the union. But I mean, he's got probably almost 15 years of experience doing that already. So like, I mean, in a way, like he will be a great teacher because he's done it, right? And they do good work. So, like this comes back to like being a dreamer, right? Like we've always talked about this, and it was a matter of time, like when it's gonna happen. And then it was like, what can I bring to the table? This fucking cord. So, like, yeah, the years went by or whatever, but we always like, we just, we kept talking. It was one of those things you just kept talking about it, like planting the seed, like. And just recently, it's not so much talk anymore. Like, his dad's gonna be done. He's gonna be taking it over. They cannot find help, like good, consistent help, like somebody that wants to work, shows up on time, will work. Like, for an example, the guy they just hired, 5 days, that's all he made it. He came to work and left early 4 out of the 5 days this week. Had to meet a guy for Craigslist. Had to get home and sleep because he had to do this later at night, or all these bullshit excuses, dude. And then he's like, "Oh, I can't go on the ladder. Like, somebody needs to hold the ladder if I go up the ladder. Like, oh, I can't work on the roof," or like all these excuses, dude. Like, I wish that Ben was here so we could talk about It's just like hilarious how much but you see it a lot. Like you hear stories about it where you just don't find good help, and people struggle to find good help. Well, I've been doing concrete on like pouring patios, driveways, garages the last couple of years by myself. I learned to do it with another guy when I was in high school. Worked throughout college doing it, and then the last couple of years, like I said, been doing it by myself. Well, we've been just getting a ton of work. Like everybody wants it. And I was talking to Ben about it or whatever, because they get tons of people. They have a company right now that does like their garage slabs, basement floors, driveways, all that, walkways, patios. And he's like, "Yeah, we'll do it once in a while, like when we really need it done, but otherwise we just sub it out." And I'm like, "Well," I was talking to him like a week or two ago. I'm like, "Well, what if you guys were to take that whole thing on yourself?" He's like, "Well, Dad stopped doing that freaking 20 years ago. Like, Ben really never did it." And he's like, "But if we did, like for an example, it takes roughly 7 days to build a garage. Well, the garage costs 40 grand. If we were to do the garage ourselves from the ground up, like pouring the slab and then building it, you have 10 to 12 grand in materials. And you're charging 40 grand.
Yeah.
So now you're looking at 30 grand. You divide that between two people. Obviously, you're going to put more money back into the business. Bless you.
Sorry.
And obviously, we were talking, like, you're not just going to take all that as profit. So 30 grand, two people, that's 15 grand in 7 days. You're not going to take all that money and put it in your pocket. You could. But we also know that you got to keep putting money back into the business to keep growing it, right? So that way you're not ever leveraging yourself to get loans. You're paying for all this stuff in cash, whether you start building a condo or you're building a $250,000, $300,000 home, like all of it's done in cash. So you're not ever having to worry about leveraging yourself or trying to finance things. So even so, 7 to 10 days, you're putting $2 grand in your pocket. Like, to me and him, that was like, that's a no-brainer. He's like, we do 8-10 garages just in the fall and the winter. So if we wanted to do more, we could take on more. But he's like, we just don't have the help. Like, we just don't have guys that will show up, be consistent. And I'm like, I want to eventually go out, and I've talked about this before too. I want to do my own thing. And I was like, when is that time going to be? Like, I didn't think it was going to be this soon, but I'm telling you, like, it's going to be this soon. We're going to partner up on it, and we're going to do it. Like, so I guess that's like the gist of it. But I walked into the trailer on Thursday, and I never had to do this, and I'm just like, I went to the soup. I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I've never had to do this. I don't even know if I have to do this. I'm like, Like, I walked myself through this so many times, like, in the past week. Like, what am I going to say? And those are my words. Like, I know it because I rehearsed it in my head. Like, I literally visualized this over and over. Like, and he's like, he turned, like, he knew. Like, and I'm like, do I got to give you 2 weeks?
What's my life going to look like if I don't do this? What's my outcome going to be if I don't do this? Am I going to be less than what I could be if I don't do this? These are the things that a winner's dialogue sounds like. All right. Loser dialogue sounds like, man, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't want to lose what I got.
And he's just like, what? And I'm like, I've had an opportunity come my way, and I want to see what it's about. It's a residential building, and I want to be he's like, well, you want to be a carpenter, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, tell me about it. So I started giving him some details about it. I didn't give him any like examples of like the garages or like pouring slabs and like all the work that like they already have and turned down because they don't have somebody to do it, and like how much more that could bring the business. And he's like, starts asking me how much I'm gonna get paid and all this stuff, and he's just like, you're fucking nuts. You're fucking nuts. He said it like 10 times, dude. He just starts laughing at me, and I was just like, you just fucking filled the shit out of me, dude. Like, you made my... And then he starts going on, union this, union that. Like, well, what are your benefits for this? And like, he says, the whole goal in life is to make as much money as fast as you can so you can retire as fast as you can. And I'm like, you literally telling me that is exactly what I have learned to not ever believe. Like, oh, you got to have... And then he goes on about the benefits, my pension, all this stuff. And I'm just like...
What benefits, though? Like,
dude,
I don't...
Well, what are you going to do for healthcare? What are you going to do when you retire? Like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like... I just kind of like laughed to myself. We've talked about this kind of stuff before. And I'm like, for one... I'm not fucking relying on that pension. Like, why would I? I'm like, I'm not relying on the freaking government to save my ass when it comes to retirement. Like, I already have my own retirement plan outside of what I was doing at work. And then, like, I don't know. I just kind of like, I'm just like, yeah, it's not easy for me, but the fact that it's so comfortable for people just to do that, it was another driving reason why I like couldn't do it.
Overvaluing your current situation and undervaluing what your life could actually look like. Because if you do that, guys, what's actually going to happen is when you're 10, 15 years down the road, if you decided that it wasn't worth going after, you're going to look around and you're going to say, well, fuck, what would my life look like if I actually had went after that?
Because I can't just like sit there and rely on that check and like not have any, like, it's not the sole reason why I don't want to do it, but like, I like the work, it's honest work, but it wasn't driving me to like be my best, I guess. Like, that's one aspect, but there are so many different things that I've thought of and look at, like. And then I get another call on Friday when we're out pouring, because I took off or whatever, and so I could talk to Ben about it. And then I'm like, well, I'm gonna go work. I had another job to do, so I went and did my job. Get a call from one of the head guys or whatever, and he's just like, I wish I could play the voicemail. Maybe I will. I'll put that in here. What are we at for time so I can kind of get...
52:57.
He says, hey, this is so-and-so, kind of like what, like, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, you could just
Who
hear...
is this?
Like, one of the guys that basically he hires people, he places people where their job sites are going to be. He determines
like
if...
your labor coordinator?
Yeah, but then he can also I don't really know what his, like, I think he does bids for jobs. I think he gets to pick if they're gonna move you up to an
So
apprentice. So Juan, my soup says, "What do you want? We'll make you an apprentice tomorrow." Like just trying to throw like that whole opportunity of like you're gonna make this, like how much, basically like you need to make more or you want to become this, like we'll give you this, like, and I'm just like, it ain't about that. Like I am taking a pay cut hourly, but I'm not taking a pay cut when it comes down to the actual like amounts that I'm gonna earn like weekly. Does that make sense? Because I'll get paid. I'm getting subbed out when we do those other jobs. So if I want to go pour the patio for that house or the garage slab for that house, they're going to sub it to me, and I'm going to get paid hourly at the same time. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
It's basically like me doing a side job, but I'm still getting an hourly check.
Mm-hmm.
So my pay cut, like hourly for that check will be less, but the overall pay out of the job will be far more.
But no, yeah, but you can't like. All right, let me pause this for a second.
So I kind of remember where we left off, but another thought that just popped in my head. Another like reason that I was like, it's like you're fucking nuts, but like to me, so example, like I work with so many of these guys that will drive to Illinois and spend 3 hours driving both ways. That's 6 hours a week or 6 hours a day.
Yep.
6 times 5. You're wasting 30 hours driving. Right?
Yep.
So I go work 35, 40 hours. My hourly pay is slightly less. It's not really that big of a difference. Like, it's going to be slightly less. But this job, all these jobs are within 40 minutes of the house. I get to the shop, and the shop is 10 minutes from my house. I'm getting paid when I get to the shop.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm not driving an hour plus. So example, 30 hours, let's just say it's 10. Let's say it's 10 hours just for my drive time a week, which that's damn near average. Like I at least drive an hour each way. That's 2 hours a day. That's 5 days a week. That's 10 hours that I wasted driving. Put that at $30 an hour. That's $300. Then it's on my fuel, my car, like add all that up at the end of a year. So now I just have those 10 hours. I can average a job in 12 hours. I can do a patio, tear out and pour it, seal it, strip it, 12 hours. 12 hours in my time. When I do that, I can tell you I at least make $1,000 in my pocket. So it's like, that's just one small example. Now, when I compound that over 5 years, and I only do one a week, which right now I've been averaging 2 a week, why would I not try to run with this and do something with it?
Yeah.
I'm going to have more time to myself. I'm closer to home. I'm building something that I actually have, one, confidence in myself, but two, I feel like it's purposeful and like more meaning to me. So they look at it as I'm just like another thing that they just want me to sell my hours to them.
That's it right there.
If
that you're selling your time to these contractors, and if you have anything else going, like they're gonna be like, yeah, that's fine, you can take off. But they're gonna always like in the back of their mind remember that, and like that compounds of like
right now, they don't want me to leave, but they know that I show up every day. You know, it's a guaranteed employee
they don't want you to leave because
I'm giving
you've been selling your time to them,
yeah.
And they've been making so much off of you,
yes.
that they don't want you to leave. It's not that
even they know that it's hard to find employees that are going to stick around and are consistent, that
right.
They show up every day.
And that's why they don't want you to leave.
Yep.
It's not it. I mean,
and so like that was another thing. I'm like, I'm expendable to them. Like they will. Like I'm gone, somebody else will be in my spot Monday. And now, like, if I did want that day off, well, then they're gonna look at me like, oh, yeah, like you said, go ahead. But when something rolls around and they need to get rid of somebody, It's going to be that person that happened to take that day
Yep.
off because you didn't sell your time to them.
Yeah.
You can go there and bust your ass every single day. But if you want to take some time for yourself, they're going to look at that like, see you later.
Yep.
9 out of 10 of them will. 9 out of 10. Like,
But
I've seen it.
It's not going to be like if me and you both are on the job site and we both give the exact amount of productivity, energy into the job every day that we're there. Say we give
Shit,
the
you could give-
exact same,
you
but
could give
I
even-
take off. Say I take off twice a month, and you don't. I'll be the first one laid off, and you won't, just because
You
of the
could give
fact-
less effort and you take, and I could give less effort, you know, and you
Yeah.
took those 2 days off. They're going to be like, oh,
He don't want to be
Jason was
here.
slightly more consistent. Boom. Like
Matt don't want to
it-
be here. Like he's not giving it because
You
he
had
has
to be
this and
gone
this
those
on
2.
it.
Yeah, yep. And they act like they really care. Like
No.
some of these guys are great guys, but as a company standpoint, I believe that I am expendable.
You are. Like
Yeah.
you can be at the smallest company possible, but in the company's eyes, you're just a number. Because you're just selling your time to the company.
So like
Especially when you're in a union setting that like technically everybody's equal, like equal
Yes,
pay,
yes.
equal this. Like you're not making any more than the next guy, so like if you're gone, like say you're gone tomorrow, they'll find somebody else to replace you in a day, in a week. It's not going to be like there's no personal like
there's really not a big personal connection.
No,
with it.
like-
yeah.
maybe
And
I mean
like-
maybe to like your
Some people.
people that know you and
Yeah.
like your soup that you're working
But
for
on
or
paper-
your foreman, but
on
on
paper,
paper you're
yeah.
just a number, you're
Yep.
just a
Yep. They
you're
talk
just a
about it-
dollar figure of how much you're bringing the company in.
Yeah. Yep. So, like, my thing is too, like, I could go work 40 hours there, and it is honest work. Like, most of the time I like the people I work with,
Yeah.
but I know by me putting in 50 or 60 hours by myself, or, like, working 40, like, with Ben, like, he's family, like, we connect well, like, the job, like, the culture of their job site it's gonna be a great time. Like I know it's not even gonna feel like work at all.
Yeah.
And then I have I know I'm gonna put in another 10 or 20 hours a week because that's what drives me. And like for me to have such an opportunity to do that, like just the 10 hours and like saving in a week or whatever, like that's 10 hours that I can put back into myself somewhere else. That shit drives me even more. Like I will push myself into the ground because I know, like we talked about before, like working for that end goal, like
Right.
and like it's purposeful to me, and that's what drives me even more. And I just want to try it. I'm fucking 24 years old. I told him that. I said I'm 24. I don't got shit to pay for. I'm like I just want to go try it. And I know that if I want to get hired somewhere else, like you said, I'll be that number if something goes wrong and I have to be that number for another company.
Yeah.
I can do it. I have the work ethic to do it. And like, yeah, I might not. I told him. I said I want to be respectful. And I want to leave in good terms. Like I don't want to just get up and be gone. But I know now, like they're trying to keep me there, and by me like feeding back into that, it's going to be that much harder to leave. So like I didn't even like. There's 2 soups that I've had that like I connect really well with, and I wanted to talk to them about it, but I knew if I did, it would be so much harder to leave. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like out of respect for, like, I wanted to be respectful to them and like show that I like, I don't know, respect their judgment and stuff, but I knew that it would not be well when I did make this decision.
Well, you respect their judgment of like where they're coming from, but they don't have the same mindset that you got.
No. Or the same situation. Like the circumstances are different. Everybody has different circumstances, and this is one of them that I know I am going to get a ton of hate for, but overall, in the long term, I believe I will be much happier.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my story. That's my big news. Which is, honestly, dude, I've been anxious as fuck the last couple of days since I did it, because that is a huge step. Like I'm getting out of my comfort zone, and that's what we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
And I know in the long run, like, that's going to be huge.
I just listened to a podcast from Andy that talks about like not having a fallback plan.
Dude, oh man. So, all right. I'm going to look here. So, one of his last episodes, June 9th, it's the 19th. So that was about when I talked to Ben about this whole thing happening. That he comes out with this podcast. How winners think about risk. We're going to put some clips in. 10-second clips. We'll put a couple of them in. Otherwise, I suggest you guys go look. It's episode 114. It is one of the most recent episodes he's released.
Real AF.
Real, yeah,
Right, you said Andy.
Real AF with Andy Frisilla.
Yeah.
We'll put that up in the description too. Dude, I heard that, and it was just like, you know, when you're praying and like you're like looking for answers, and then like things just start aligning. It was like that, man. Like it just hit. I'm like, I was just anxious when it was like, I still am anxious about it, but I know that was the decision that I had to do it. Like I have to take the risk.
Yeah.
And it's just that mentality. Like, it might seem extremely fucked up to a lot of people, but I mean, it is fucked up for the normal person. But I would say I don't think like the normal person. I just don't. I haven't the last 6-7 years. Like, I've seen shit from it, and I've seen a lot of positive shit happen from it. I've got a lot of negative stuff for it, but overall, I mean, I'm young as hell. I don't have everything figured out, but I think that by doing this, I'm putting myself in the right direction to where I want to be. Come years ahead.
Yeah, but you've been talking about that end goal for how long? And like you can see that like working for Smith, that end goal would never happen.
Dude,
like,
I said before I started there, I knew the goal was to get enough money in my account, in my hands, where when it is like an opportunity like this came, I was going to take it.
Uh-huh.
I thought that was going to be 5-10 years from now. Dude, it happened way earlier than I thought, but I have been putting the cards in position so when the freaking hand came about, it was going to be there and ready for me. Like, I was going to be ready to do it. That doesn't make it any easy. Like, maybe it makes it a little easier to step out and like you talked about. There's another episode about having the fallback plan. I've thought of that too, because I thought, you know, I could keep on working for this like consistent check, know that it's going to be there, like the money's there, like I just got to show up, you know. But there comes a time where you got to just fucking throw that hand out there and go. Like, and to me, this is it. Like, I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, you should talk. Like, yeah, there's a couple people that I've told that are pumped, and like you were like one. I texted you right after. Yeah. Like you were one. I think. I'm sorry, Anna, but I think I told Jason before I told her that I did it. But I talked to her about it previously before I made the decision. And she was all for it too, so I think that made it a lot easier to do it. That's also nice too, like having her there, like supporting the decision.
I don't understand how anybody could be against it. I mean,
dude, you just wait and watch. I'm telling you, I know a handful of people right now that will be like exactly what my soup said to me. You're fucking nuts. I know people that are gonna say far worse things, and you know what? I don't give a shit. Like that, dude.
If I was in your shoes, I'd almost hope that somebody told me I'm nuts, because validate me that I'm like, yeah, I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah. No, I know that's the thing too. Like people think that's gonna affect me negatively. It's gonna drive me even more because I'm just gonna be laughing in the back of my
Yeah.
head. Like, yeah, I know. Like,
That would just put the visualization in my head of like, in 10 years, when I don't even like, when I'm fucking financially free and fucking.
I'm taking off to go
Yeah.
hunting and do the shit that I want to do, and you're like, how'd you do this? Or
And
know?
when you wanna do something and they're like, well, I gotta ask off for work, and then you'll be like, I do too. Let me write in, and you write down on the fucking napkin, can I take off? Yes, I can. Sign it yourself.
Take a picture
Fucking
of
there I am. I'm going.
Dude, I'm pumped. Like, I know there's gonna be ups and downs, like but that's all part of one starting a business, being part of a small business. Like, that's all part of it. But, like exactly what Andy says, man. That's how winners look at risk, though. Like, I'm not looking at all the negatives that's gonna happen. I look at the positives. I know there's gonna be negatives, but I also know with my mindset and like the work ethic, I'll get through the negative shit. I'm gonna just learn from it.
Yeah.
Well, a good friend of mine, Kyle, he was on the podcast. I talked to him about it. I said, you know what I was told, Kyle? I'm fucking nuts. He looks at me. He goes, has like a little like weird look in his face. He's like, well, and I'm like, tell me I'm fucking nuts. And he's just like, well, I'm not gonna say that, but I know with your mindset and like your work ethic, whatever you decide to do, you're gonna figure it out, man. And I'm just like, thank you, man. Like that, I appreciate that. Like,
Yeah.
and like, I'm glad that you see that. Like,
Because it is nuts. Like,
it is nuts because, dude, you're going against the norm of like what so many people do.
Yeah. I mean, it's nuts in the eyes of like.
Dude, honestly though, I feel like when we talked about this a year ago, you might have been like, "Are you sure, dude?" Like, don't you think you've been like? Because I've seen like your shift in the last 6 months is just it's
especially like 4 years ago. Like,
oh
4 years
yeah,
ago, I would have called you fucking nuts myself.
Yeah, dude, I just like seeing like the growth, like and the changes that you're looking at too. Like I said before, like I do think it is for the better. Like it's been a positive light for you, and like your relationships, like our relationship too. Like, and I'm not just saying that because you feed into me positively. You know, like I see you doing that for other people. Like, I don't know, it's freaking awesome to see.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. What are we at?
Oh, my fucking allergies are terrible. Hour 11.
Want to cut her short or keep on rolling?
We can cut her.
Yeah,
I think that was a good one.
Almost 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyways,
shit.
I hope you guys enjoyed this one. There's going to be a lot more things to come. I'm sure there's going to be some pretty entertaining things.
Well, now that we got a working mixer again,
yeah,
I mean, we can make
we're
it
definitely
every
going to
week.
be. I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, we're going to be consistent as shit about this. Like, I think we said this before. We think the hiccups are out, but just like anything in life, like shit comes around and gets in the way of things. But
I can't believe that fucker just broke. I mean, what kind of shitty ass company puts out a product
we're definitely
that just breaks on its own?
We're gonna leave reviews on that though, and then we're gonna share positive reviews on the one that we have here in the next coming weeks.
Not to open up a whole nother can of worms, but it's just like if you're gonna put a product out there, I mean, you gotta
especially for like a decent sized company.
Yeah, you gotta fucking and if you know it's gonna break.
And I've seen I've seen a lot more reviews that are like negative about it.
I don't
know. Maybe they just pushed it and like the early days of the product was all right, but now that like people are like had it for a while, it is like.
We didn't
faulty.
even have it for a while. We didn't have it for fucking 6 months.
Yeah,
6 months and it breaks on its own.
Think about it. Like that's a quick buck in their pocket. You know, maybe that's what one of these products are. Maybe it's like the new iPhone updates where they slow your shit down, right? Like now you got to go get a new one or blah blah blah. Like anyways, but this next one, I think we spent a little bit more on this one, and then I think we got her good.
Yeah, thanks. This
should be good. Yeah, it's more of a production type mixer. So yeah. Anyways, guys. Thanks for following along. We should have some hats or T-shirts.
Hopefully, I gotta talk to my cousin. I keep forgetting.
Yeah, we got to get that done, man. We
I'm-
got some
I'm
pretty
bad at
sweet
that.
ideas. I think we should do like a little release. We already got. I mean, I already talked to a handful of people that want some stuff.
All right.
A little bit of merch line going.
I could set like a website up.
Yeah, like I'll help you with that. Like we said, we'd appreciate if you guys share it with somebody,
Yeah.
a friend, family, coworker, whatever it is.
Yeah, we're kind of like Real AF, where we don't do.
Yeah, we've
Don't do
talked about this
ads,
before.
don't
We don't
do-
plan on really marketing this or putting ads out or putting even paid promotions in the. I mean, we can do that. We can put ads in it, but we just haven't been. I don't know. We just want to be real about everything and try to get as much positive information out
Yeah,
there.
I don't want to try to sell a product that I don't believe in.
like
You know what
our
I
old
mean?
mixer. Yeah.
You know, I don't want to have some company just pay me to be like, yeah, this product is the shit. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
rather just
Naturally
do what we
it.
do
It might
and-
take a lot longer for it to grow into what we want it to be, but that's all right. So, share it like we said, Instagram, even a Snapchat, anything.
word of mouth.
Yeah, just talk about it. You guys can find us on a couple different platforms, Spotify.
Leave a review on Apple.
Yeah,
Apple Podcasts.
Podcast, YouTube. Once we get the room set up, we've talked about it before, getting videos and stuff, but it'll come. It's all part of the process. And then we'll see you guys on the next one later this week.
Stop asking yourself, is it going to be worth it? Fuck yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it all. What else are you going to do? You're going to coast through life fucking doing everything that everybody else does? If that's you, you shouldn't be listening to the show in the first place.